Jack looked at his wife, stroking her long, wavy hair. "Emily, don't you think it's time for your brother to move out of our apartment?" he asked. Emily pouted her full lips. "Why? He's got no one else in this city but us, and renting an apartment is expensive." But we agreed that he would stay only until he found a job. It's been 7 months, and he's still looking. "You know we need the money to build our new house. We wanted to sell the apartment where your brother lives. I've already found the perfect spot for our home, right next to a birch grove, with a beautiful view of the forest from the windows. It's perfect for the kids. Jack, after living in the countryside, your birches and nature make me sick. I don't want a house." "My dear, it's not the countryside. It's a suburban area with all the city conveniences, living close to nature, just 10 minutes away from the city. And our current apartment will always be there if we need to spend a night in the city." "Jack, there's always more hassle with a house. After living in the village, I know that well. Half the day working in the garden and the rest doing housework. I don't want that kind of happiness." "Oh, come on, sweetheart. I've already talked to a landscape designer. We'll have a beautiful lawn, no gardens. I'll mow the lawn myself, riding a lawnmower." But Emily looked at her husband with a gaze that allowed no argument. "Jack, we won't sell the apartment where my brother lives. At least not yet. What should he do? Go back to the village. And you don't want to help him find a job. He's taking some courses now. Once he finishes and gets a job, then we can talk about selling the apartment." "My dear, I don't mind helping your relatives, but your brother is living off us. He doesn't pay for utilities, and I cover all his expenses. He's living on my dime and doesn't seem in a hurry to change that. I understand it's comfortable for him, and he doesn't want to change anything. And I see it suits you too. I won't hire him because business with relatives and friends never works out. I've learned that the hard way." "Why are you so stingy? You earn enough to support my entire village without any trouble, and you're hesitating to help my brother. I'm tired of this. I've made my decision, and I won't change it. Either you ask your brother to leave, or I will in 2 days." "Don't be angry, Jack. Let him stay a bit longer. He's not just sitting around doing nothing. I'm working hard for you and our future children too. I also came to the city from a village and had no one to help me. I worked during the day and studied at night. That's how I made my way. Don't make your brother out to be a victim. He's just lazy, that's all. There's plenty of work for him as a laborer, especially since he's strong." Emily jumped up from her chair and, turning away from her husband, went to the bedroom, slamming the door. Jack, 15 years older than his wife, had put off marriage while he built his career and business. When he finally felt secure, he met Emily, a delicate and beautiful young woman. Her beauty and innocence captivated him instantly. Within 2 months, he proposed, and she accepted. But after the wedding, Emily's not-so-simple nature emerged. Jack hoped that motherhood would change her and help her mature. Jack decided they needed a change of scenery. He planned a trip to the seaside, thinking a vacation would do them good. The next day, he handed over his work to his deputy and went to a travel agency to book the trip. He was eager to see his wife's joy when she heard the news. But as he got into his car, a message came through on his phone. When he read it, his breath caught. It was a photo of Emily kissing her brother Tom on the lips, clearly not a brotherly kiss. The caption read, "He's not really her brother." Jack was stunned. He couldn't believe his sweet Emily had deceived him. He realized he knew very little about her family. She had always said she and her older brother were raised by their grandmother after their parents passed away. When their grandmother died, they moved to the city to start their lives. Chapter 2. Unraveling Secrets. In the early days in the city, Emily and Tom had a rough time. Emily often spoke of a misunderstanding when they first arrived, when some guys harassed her, and Tom, trying to protect her, ended up in the police station. Jack had seen her crying on the street that day, which was the first time he met her. Jack decided he needed to investigate further. That evening, when he arrived home, Emily was in high spirits. "Dear, I have wonderful news. I've taken time off work and we're going to the seaside together," Jack announced with a big smile. Emily's voice wavered. "Just the two of us?" she asked, trying to mask her anxiety. "Why? Were you expecting someone else to join us?" Jack's brow furrowed. "No, I don't like the heat. It makes my head ache," she nervously replied. All right then, Jack shrugged. I haven't paid for the trip yet. I'll call and cancel. He paused, then added, By the way, have you talked to Tom about his plans? No, Jack. Please, just let him stay a little longer. The apartment means so much to him. Emily, that apartment has always been a source of extra income for us. Now it's just a financial burden because of your brother. Emily glared at him, grabbed her bag, and stormed out, throwing over her shoulder. I'm going for a walk. Jack watched from the window as she pulled out her phone and started talking animatedly to someone. He knew he had to act quickly. The next morning, Jack took a drive to the address listed in Emily's old passport, hoping to find answers. He reached a small village and found Emily's parents' home. They were alive and well, contrary to Emily's claims. Hello, I'm Jack, Emily's husband, he introduced himself. Ah, Emily's doing well then? Her mother asked. Yes, she is. I came to scout out some land for a country house. Emily suggested this area. Beautiful place, her mother nodded. Emily always dreamed of leaving here, never thought she'd come back, even for a visit. But it's good to know she's doing well, and that rascal Tom has finally straightened out. We were worried he'd drag her down. Tom? Jack asked, trying to sound casual. Yes, her so-called brother. They've been inseparable since childhood. He's always been a troublemaker, but it seems he's turned his life around. They even live together in the city now. Jack's mind raced. Emily had lied about everything. He thanked her parents and left, determined to take control of the situation. He drove back to the city, formulating a plan. First, he rented an apartment for himself. Then, he went to the bank and withdrew most of his savings, storing them in a safe at work. He also applied for a substantial loan for a piece of land, ensuring the debt would be shared with Emily. Returning home a week later, Jack stood in the doorway, looking at Emily. I'm filing for divorce. The papers are already in court. You have until tomorrow to move out and tell your so-called brother to leave my other apartment immediately. Are you insane, Jack? You're overreacting. So what if Tom's living there? I'm not arguing. You're leaving, both of you. Jack pulled out his phone and showed her the incriminating photo. Emily's face went white, then flushed with anger. So you know everything. Good. Now I don't have to hide it. I love him, not you. But you can't throw me out. Half of everything is mine. We'll see about that. How the court divides our assets will decide. He tossed her the keys and left, slamming the door behind him. In court, Emily demanded half of everything. However, the judge noted that most assets, including the two-bedroom apartment, were acquired by Jack before their marriage. The only asset they had to split was a recent loan for the land. Shocked by the financial burden, Emily quickly signed a settlement, realizing she would gain little. Jack felt a weight lift off his shoulders. Emily and Tom moved out, leaving Jack to rebuild his life. Jack's life took a turn for the better. A new colleague, Sarah, joined his firm, and they quickly formed a warm connection. Unlike Emily, Sarah was independent, with her own beautiful apartment and a strong sense of self. They married within a year, and 5 years later, they had 2 beautiful daughters. Jack often reflected on his past with gratitude for the lessons it taught him. The betrayal he experienced had led him to true happiness, proving that sometimes life's toughest trials pave the way for the greatest joys. That's how the story ends, friends. Join the conversation below and express your thoughts on this novel. If you found it captivating, share the link with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new story that will make your heart race. Your support inspires us to create more tales. All the best to you. Take care and see you next time.